because of this gentleman, I know all of you out there. Some of you I knew before, but so many of you I've met through this sport. A group of us just went to Cloverdale, Indiana to help put on a pull out there and meet all kinds of people. My son now and my daughter are interested in it. And it's all because somebody asked somebody to get involved. So when you think what you do isn't important, sometimes you don't realize the trickle-down effect and how many lives you're going to touch down the road. So special thanks to this gentleman, or I wouldn't be standing here today.
I remember when we first started, Tim Palmer come and got me. He said, we're going down to Jim Hart's. We're starting a tractor pulling club, meet down at Jim Hart's. He said, sure like for you to come because you've been involved in pulling before. So I blame Tim Palmer for all this stuff that I'm into now. And our Hall of Fame member that we're going to name here in just a few moments, they kept asking you to do stuff, pushing you to do stuff. You did stuff because nobody else would do it. There wasn't nobody else to do it. And like Kyle said, over all my years of pulling, I have met so many people. I never realized how many people I have touched until my latest family tragedy. I don't know how many emails and stuff from all over the eastern part of the country. And it's just one big family. I'm glad I'm a member of this big family. And everything was not all fun and glorious during the early days of Darke County Tractor pullers. Tim decided to make up some t-shirts and stuff. Went and got a guy's pulling tractor and put on the front of it. Wasn't long, he got a call. Cease and desist.
Immediately.
Immediately, because you did not get permission to use my tractor. So we had t-shirts and we had all kinds of stuff made up with this tractor on, and they was junk. Probably worth some money today if you found the right person. But again, we are very proud of this guy. I'm proud of this guy because all the years he's helped me. I said earlier on Facebook, there was a movie from YouTube, 1994, when the country deer blowed up. Tim was right there beside of it, helping get stuff done, taking care of, keeping people away. So, okay, without this gentleman's dream, DCTPA, I would not know as many people in this room. This is Joe's words. His dream has changed my life, sleds, and being involved in over 120 events a year. Mr. Tim Hart, our newest inductee into the Darke County Tractor Hall of Fame. Our first president, General County member, and Jim and everybody, Jake Locker.
They said I could talk, so I'm going to talk.
Oh boy.
I can't tell you how good it is to be associated with a family like this. Everything these guys have set up here is so true that ours are all family. That's all there is to it. But I want to take a few minutes. I know many of you in here don't understand and don't have any idea how the Darke County Tractor Pullers was formed, what it took to do it, why it was ever thought of, and a few things like that. And I'm going to try to go back through it. Good grief, it's been over 35 years. It's clear back in the early 1980s, but Joe asked me whether I would do it, and I said I would try. I know the dates aren't going to be exact, but I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea. In 1977, me and my brother started a shop on the old county home road, and it was a John Deere shop pretty much. Joe knew my brother Jim from working at Palestine Exchange, but we started a shop up there. We had a shop on Detour Road. We outgrew it, so Jim had bought a farm up on County Home Road, and that's where we put the new shop. Well, it wasn't too long after that until we started working on some pulling tractors. We worked on Tim Palmer's for a while when he had 666. We even worked on his 460 when it was gas, and he kept saying, man, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. Well, you know, we wasn't running a turbo, we was naturally aspirated. Wasn't much we was going to get, you know. So he finally decided that he would go to a 666 diesel, which is a 360 cubic inch engine, and would put a turbo on it, and it ran pretty decent. But, you know, as time went, you pullers know that things have just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's like me and Joe was talking. The hot farm class of today is probably as strong or stronger than what the super stock class was in the 1986, 1987, and that's something else. But I want to go back to what basically happened. There was a guy, the late Dave Blocker, that we had hired that worked with us, and I was working on Jim Acton's tractor. Jim, I'm sure many of you in here, if you was first generation, knew Jim Acton. He had a 666. We did some mechanical work on it, also did the welding and fab work on it. He was also a Darke County Tractor Puller member. We was doing some work on his stuff, and the late Dave Blocker walked up to me. I never will forget it. He was working on my brother's truck. He was working on a V8 engine. And he said, Tim, he said, you ever think about tractor pulling? I said, yeah, a lot. But I said, you ain't gonna do it in Darke County. Well, yeah, he said, it's worth trying, isn't it? And I said, well, I don't know. So anyway, we got to thinking about it, and the more we talked about it, it went over probably a couple months before we done anything. And finally, me and Dave and my brother went to a Darke County Fair Board meeting. And if anybody knows anything about the Darke County Fair Board at that time, and Fair Board members, I'm not talking bad about you, I'm just telling you in the past, tractor pulling at this time was terrible because there had been a lot of drinking going on, there had been a lot of fighting going on, and they just didn't want it. And we went to the meeting, we basically brought it up and they tabled it, and we basically got thrown out. That's basically what happened. Well, a couple months later, we decided that we would try it again, and somebody found out that we was going to go to another meeting, and I'll tell you who it was. It was the late Charlie Sacker. And Charlie come to the shop, and he said, I hear you guys really want to put on a tractor pull. And I said, yeah, we do. And I said, we want it to be at the Darke County Fair. He said, well, he said, I tell you what, he said, the horse racers, he said, I just don't know. He said, can you make it make money? And I said, I don't know. I don't know whether we can do that or not. Well, anyway, they finally give us the right to do it. They finally give in, and we finally started out with a contract. I never will forget, our first contract with them was $4,000, and that was everything. That was the sled rental and the whole works. But to get back to what actually happened, like I say, we started out in 1980. In 1981, the club, and it was original members, it was Tony and Lum and Joe and a few of the others. Joe touched on this, but I'm going to give you the whole story on it. In 1981, I was pretty computer literate, just like I am right now. What are you laughing about?
Not a thing, love you.
And so I got this bright idea that I'd put this on the scanner and I'd take this picture right off of the NTPA Pulling magazine. Well, also at that time I was a tech inspector for National, and I did quite a bit of competition stuff for Ohio State. And Jim and Ellie was beginning to get involved in the club and everything. And all of a sudden, I never will forget it. I was working on a John Deere 4020, and I got a call down at the shop from Steve Cole, which was a photographer at National Tractor Pullers. And he called my name, and he said, Tim, he said, we got a little bit of a problem. I said, what? Now, mind you, I was young to this. I was naive. I knew nothing. He said, you got a flyer out, and he said, you got a copyrighted picture on it. I said, Yeah. He said, well, I tell you what, he said, you got about a week to get it off, he said, I'm gonna sue you. So I got a hold of Dave that afternoon. I got a hold of Dave that afternoon, and I said, well, Dave was in the shop. Matter of fact, he went to lunch and come back, and I said, Dave, we got problems. I said, we gotta leave. And Jim was in Eaton. We didn't even tell Jim where we was going. We took off, and we picked up all them flyers, and then about 2 weeks later, we designed a new brochure that had a different tractor on it, and that got us out of that. But along with that, Joe talked about the bad times we've had. That poll was supposed to be a real good poll. That was what we called an invitational, and Jim Acton and Tim Palmer and a couple of the active people, they're the ones that got a hold of a lot of the real, we called it hot stuff at that time, like Gardner Stone come in. But mind you, it was an invitational. It wasn't that they was going to get money for getting first place. It was an invitational poll, and they hoped the sled we was going to pay them. That's the way it was. And I don't know. We had a lot of hot stuff. Well, we probably had probably had 30 tractors there, didn't we? Good stuff. Real good stuff. But as they said, you looked up in the crowd and you had nothing. I mean, you could count the people, and before this ever happened, it was on a Wednesday night. We was having a meeting, and I told Joe at the time, I said, we can't do this, but I said, I can't back this. I said, there's no way. I said, if this don't make it, I said, I can't back it. I said, there's no way. I said, the club has no money. I said, it'll break me. I said, it'll break you. Well, about halfway through the meeting, Charlie Sackett called us on the phone, the late Charlie Sackett. And he said, Tim, he said, did you decide what you're going to do? And I said, well, no, because I said, well, we ain't going to do it because we don't have the money. He said, don't worry about it. He said, if it's a loss, he said, you get in contact with me Monday morning, and he said, I'll write you a check for the total loss. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, what started and got the Darke County Tractor Pullers rolling. If we would not have had people like Charlie Sackett, the Darke County Fair Board behind us, all of our sponsors that's worked hard, the tile mill, they furnished all the clay for out there. Tony helped. Tom Hollinger done all the excavating. If we would not have had all these sponsors, just like these people up here have right now, guys, this wouldn't make it. But guys, I want to tell you, this isn't about me. Yes, I'm honored and I'm humbled to have something like this. But this isn't about me. This is about you people that's pullers, that's club members, that's grown this club from 12, 13, 14, 15 members up to what it is now. That's what it's about. It's about being a family. And I hope that this continues, and I hope that the club gets bigger and bigger. One other thing is I had back surgery in '06, or I'd be more active than I am right now. That's the reason why I'm in a chair. But my last hope, my last dream was to be able to see the Darke County Tractor Pullers put on a grand national event, and that has happened. And that's phenomenal, because we never thought we would do that. And that's thanks to the club members. That's thanks to my brother for having a place to have a meeting. That's everything. And that's how the Darke County Tractor Pullers started. It started just off of a whim. It started with a lot of persistency. And I can't thank everybody enough. I can't thank these guys up here enough for thinking about honoring me with this. And I'm very humbled. So thank you.
Congratulations. This is the picture that I was talking about that was on Facebook. I had a friend of mine, Richard Pruitt. He took a shot of it. He said, we're back and forth on Facebook and Messenger and stuff, and he says, Dwayne, he said, it's not a good picture. I said, well, you know, I know it's not, but maybe we can mess with it and get it where we could at least identify Tim on it. But that was a country deer. I'm sure you remember that. I remember
Piston sleeves,
everything.
cast iron.
That was the year that yours truly was very, very sick. And I was down there running the mic and had no idea what happened. Nobody come and told me. So, right now, I want all of the Darke County Tractor Pullers Hall of Fame members to please come forward. I can't get Dave to come. Dave's in heaven. Angie, would you take your dad's place? Estill Shaw, Tony Slackett, Joe Singer. What's Tony at? Tony, there he comes. We want to get here and have a little, Tim, we're going to have a picture of all the past members, all the Hall of Fame members. And you got me all screwed up, I can't hardly talk.
No.
We got them all? Okay, thank you all. Wait a minute, we got one more?
Can you scoot in closer? So I can get all of you?
We all can move over.
There, that's better. Thank you.
And I want to say something, I think this is pretty much the remainder
Oh my God.
group of members of our club. He's your husband? This is it.